My name is Eric Rosenberg. I'm filling in today as Master of Ceremonies for our Community Council meeting tonight. I'm the treasurer on our volunteer board, so you might recognize me. I'm gonna kick it off with our regular opening message for everybody, especially for our new people. So, good evening, everyone. Um, my name is, oops, I flipped it. There we go.
Sorry.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome you to our meeting. For those of you who are regulars, it's great to see you. For those of you who are new, the College Area Community Council is an organization designed to provide a forum for community issues, a conduit for communications with the city, and an opportunity for problem solving and planning in the college area. This is an open forum meeting, and your engagement is welcome. It's an audience participation meeting, and it only works if the audience participates. If you have questions, you can raise your hand physically, waving, and hopefully we'll see you on the Zoom. There's also a button on there to react, showing us that your hand's up or you have a question. You can also engage with us through the chat feature. We request all questions and comments held to the end of each presentation unless the speaker says otherwise at the beginning. I'd also like to take a moment to thank those who give so generously of their time and talents to make these meetings happen. That includes Kathy Bremer, Dina Rogers, me, Rob Corley, Russell Richardson, and Bob Shilkin. I want to give a huge thanks to Barbara Brown, who you might notice is not filling this role tonight. Yeah, I want to actually, before we start, read a little note from her. So you might have noticed she has not been with us these last couple of months. She's healthy and okay. She's not disappeared, but she has decided to take a step back from her role. So she sent a note to us on the board, and I want to read that to you all right now. Good evening, everyone. Barbara has asked the executive committee to share a brief message on her behalf. After much reflection, she has made the difficult decision to step down from her role as chair of the College Area Community Council. Given family obligations she has at this time, she needs to devote her attention to those responsibilities. Barbara also wanted to share that when she first joined the council, she committed to serving on the board for 3 years and then chose to contribute a fourth year to continue the momentum we had gained. She wants to express her deep gratitude to all of you, our community members, volunteers, and partners for the support, collaboration, and goodwill you've brought to this organization. She shares that it has truly been a pleasure working with everyone. She also wants to acknowledge the tremendous progress this group has made together over the last few years. Moving from a nonprofit to a fully registered nonprofit was a major milestone. Beyond that, the council completed its first community beautification project, provided food for underserved neighbors, and continued its commitment to keeping the community informed and engaged. These accomplishments reflect the dedication and heart of the executive board and their interest in serving the community. Although Barbara is stepping back from her leadership role, she remains proud of what we have built together, and she is confident in the direction the organization is heading. She hopes to join future meetings when she is able and will continue cheering for the important work being done here. She sends her sincerest thanks for the opportunity to serve and for the kindness and support shown throughout her time as chair. So thank you all very much. Those are words from Barbara. I know many of you know her personally and have her email or phone number, so feel free to reach out and say hello. I know she loves to hear from all of you. So yeah, so she's taken a time to step back, and that leaves an opportunity. Maybe one of us on the board may step up to fill that spot in the future. We have our elections coming up very soon. We've spoken to a couple of potential new board members to just join us in general. We always love to have help and and grow our leadership team. So if you are interested in joining the board or helping out in any leadership way, please let any of us know. We'd love to have you.
I also mention is if you know somebody who you think would be a good community leader for our area, you could nominate them for us to reach out and speak with them to see if they do have an interest in serving in some capacity in terms of generating as much interest in the positions as we can.
Thank you. All right. Well, without any further ado, we'll jump in and get started with our first presenter of the night. So before we do one, just last things for me, Barbara, if you're listening out there, thank you so much. You deserve a huge round of applause. You really led us to some great positive change. And yeah, we'll definitely keep the momentum going. So thank you so much. Okay, so now is our presentation from our Ventura Police Department. Commander Mike Brown, who we all know so well, is moving on to a different position. So we are now welcoming Todd, I don't want to say your last name wrong, Hourigan,
Right.
to as our new representative. So please welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Eric. I really appreciate that. Sorry for my video not working. It worked at the station. Now it's not working at my house. But I'd like to really thank, I agree. I thank you, Barbara Brown, very much for her leadership. She's been awesome to work with. Eric, you're doing a great job. Dina and Kathy, you guys are doing great jobs. I really appreciate you all. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve you as the Ventura Police Department liaison. And as I near the end of my career in the next 35 days, I'm going to pass the torch to the great Todd Hourigan. Before I get into my portion, I'd like to recognize Chief David Dickey, who is on here, and give him a moment to say something if he would like.
Well, thanks, Mike. I wasn't expecting that. I appreciate everybody having me on tonight. Mike, thanks for your nearly 3 decades of service. We appreciate you and all you've done for the city. And you've got a bright future ahead of you in retirement. Thanks again for all you do. And thanks, Todd, for stepping into this role. And I'll be back hopefully in the next month or so. We're looking to launch our strategic plan here in the coming weeks. And I'd love to have the opportunity to launch that with you folks. So thank you again for having me. And I'll be quiet now and turn it back over to Mike.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate it. And it's been an honor to serve you, Chief David. If you don't know, Chief David Dickey has been a huge mentor in my career. And I'm only where I am because of his leadership and his guidance. So I appreciate that. And, you know, as your commander, I like I said, I've also lived here in this very district, so a lot of this is very personal and hits home for me and my family. So I appreciate all the work that all of you do. Getting into the crime stats, you know, the last couple of months, I've been happy to report we've been in a reduction and a reduction, and again, we're continuing this trend as a reduction with 9 less incidents. And let me share my screen real quick because I totally forgot to do that last week. But with the crime stats, we are down to 37 incidents. And quite honestly, since I have been here at this community council, I don't think I've ever seen so few dots on our map. And I'm really happy to report that as a result of just the community interaction, the work that the officers do, and so forth. And I don't think I've ever seen so many few dots in the area of the college as well. I know we've talked about a couple of different things that we've been working on and so forth, and so forth. Those things are starting to take shape, and they're really continuing on the downward trend to less incidents. Now, I will say I do anticipate to see more incidents as we start to get into the summer months. As the weather starts to warm up, we traditionally start to see a lot more activity and so forth. But I'm happy to say right now, I don't see any current trends that you need to be worried about. We're doing a great job. Continue to report suspicious activity to our police department, our command center. And you know, I'd like to, one, introduce Todd Hourigan. Todd and I have worked together for many, many years. When I was a commander of the investigation unit, Todd is currently a sergeant for our property crimes unit. So all of those crimes, and especially the juvenile offender that we've been talking about the last couple of months, Todd's unit has been actively taking a role and to mitigate and try to thwart that activity from that certain individual. And I'd like to turn it over to him for him to give a little bit about himself. And he's also got some tips and tricks, especially when it comes to some different scams and so forth. So Todd.
Thanks, Mike. Like Mike said, my name is Todd Hourigan. I've been with the department for 23 years. I've had the privilege to work several different assignments. I worked gangs, major crimes. I was part of an FBI gang task force. And like Commander Brown said, I'm currently our property crime sergeant. I have about 2 more weeks before I officially become a commander. I've talked to Commander Brown several times about this community, and obviously with him living in it, he says that's a great group of people to work with. So I look forward to working with you guys and helping you with anything you can. Like he said, I do property crimes. I have 3 detectives currently right now, and our major issue that we're dealing with is frauds and scams. I'm in the process of working with several other agencies and some federal agencies in the county to come up with an FBI elder fraud task force to try to deal with these scams that are just killing us in the city of Ventura. So, a big thing that we tell people in prevention is, you know, pay attention to the text messages, the phone calls that you get where someone is trying to scam you and pretend that there's someone else from your bank, or that your child's been kidnapped or in jail and you need to pay a bail amount. Just look for those things. Obviously, they're attacking or going after elderly people. So if you have relatives or parents in the area, it's good to educate them. I'm in the process of working with our social media at the department to get some flyers out on social media to help with these scams. But like I said, I look forward to working with you guys. If there's any questions, I'm willing to answer them. But I appreciate Mike and all he's done for you guys, and I hope I can fill his shoes.
Thank you, Todd. So we'll open it up to questions. Any questions for either Todd or I or Chief Dickey?
No questions, but I was pretty excited about the fewer number of crimes. That's super great. Marissa.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Marissa Sullivan. I live on Wesleyan Avenue of Ventura College. I have a question about the slide that showed, you know, like the crime, I guess, statistics. My question is, does that reflect like an actual arrest, or were those calls to the like residents for things?
Thank you, Marisa, for that question. That is a combination of both. Those are also calls for service where we have taken crime reports. And then some of the incidents like the weapon law violations and any of the narcotics, those are proactive arrests. So that's a little combination. So although our numbers are down as far as crimes, there's also proactivity that is also taking place. And so that can sometimes artificially inflate. But when there's not that many people to arrest in the area, that's another good thing as well. So it's a kind of a combination of the two. Dina?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just wanted to thank Mike for his time and commitment to our organization. It's been a pleasure to get to know you a little bit and have you at our meetings. And Todd, we look forward to seeing you each month and hearing the progress that the police department continues to make.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dina. And if I have any extra time, and if I don't leave the state anytime soon, maybe I'll come back and be a colleague with all you all in this area.
You said you do live here.
You're gonna have to come and ask Todd questions about crime in the neighborhood.
Oh, I'd totally down for that. Ask him some tough questions and watch him sweat.
We'll block you on Zoom for that one, Mike.
Well, if
Thank
there's
you,
no other
Mike.
questions, it truly has been an honor to serve you all. And I really appreciate you guys are my favorite people in the world. It's been an honor to be a part of this. And I know you guys are in great hands. Todd is awesome. He's very knowledgeable, and you guys are in safe hands. So thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mike.
Right. Uh, Thank you and welcome again, Todd. We're excited to have you here and see you in future months. Um, I heard is Vanessa not able to make it. Is that correct, Kathy?
That is correct. She has a commitment at the college tonight. There's an event.
Well, I guess other work calls sometimes. All right. Well, then we will jump forward. We're lucky to have our city manager, Bill Ayub, here. So, Bill, I will hand it over to you.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all this evening and for your involvement in um, taking care of our communities. I think, it's great to see the community come together and work on problems, certainly before they become problems. But it's, unfortunately, folks from the community usually come together when there's some kind of problem to work on. But so these times when we're looking to the future and looking to just make our community better rather than solve problems is a great opportunity. So I have a little PowerPoint presentation. Kathy or um, I think I have half an hour on the schedule. Is that right?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so.
Okay.
As much time as you want.
Oh, okay. All right then. Well,
All
I'm
right,
gonna
there
get
are
started.
limits.
Okay. I'm going to try and share my screen here. I'm not masterful with Zoom, so give me a sec. Here we go. Okay. Is that right? Share.
It's funny. 10 years ago, no one knew what a Zoom was, and now we all have to be experts in it.
It was amazing to see that unfold during COVID because, it was fledgling technology back then, but it really accelerated quickly. So can you see my screen? All right.
Yes, yes. Thank you. I'll
Okay.
leave it over to you.
Okay. Well, thanks for the introduction. If I know most of you on the a meeting here, but if we by chance have not met, I'm Bill Ayub. I am the city manager of Ventura, coming up on 3 years now. And I'm born and raised in Ventura, third generation Venturan, actually. And I love the city. I don't live in college area. I'm in Midtown, but I went to Ventura College and I know the area very, very well. Went a high school graduate. And so it's a wonderful thing to be able to serve the community. My prior service was in public safety. I worked for the sheriff's office in Ventura County for 27 years and North Las Vegas Police Department for a few years before that. I thought there were fields were greener in other places, and I had to go see for myself, and made me really appreciate how valuable Ventura is as a place to live and raise a family. So let's see if I can advance my screen somehow. Okay, let's see how this works. Oh, there we go. Okay, I want to give you what I want to do is give you an overview of the city and sort of some updates on what's going on. We have a lot of things going on currently, and there's some things planned for the future. I think that you would find of interest. Um, Ventura is our oldest city in the county. It was actually established in the late 1700s with the construction of a mission Basilica San Buenaventura. And then it was incorporated in the early 1800s. We were originally part of Santa Barbara County, and then Santa Barbara County divided in two, and Ventura County was born, and Ventura became the county seat, of course, which it is today. And there's some challenges involved with being the county seat, some benefits as well. Um, but it drives a lot of our strategies for serving the community. We have about 109, 110,000 residents. The number's been pretty stable for a number of years. Of course, Ventura is largely developed. We have very few pockets of open space. The development we do see in town is often redevelopment. So sometimes there's an addition of housing units, or certainly some kind of commercial or development of some sort. But we don't see a lot of growth in terms of what's happening in town. Um, so that's a real concern, and we're seeing that kind of play out in our demographics. If you listen to any of the economists talk about the future of the county, really, it's almost kind of frightening in some ways. Our population is aging. We have a declining population of student-aged people. So we see a reduction in the number of students at the schools. And as I'm sure you know, the schools are undergoing the painful process of looking at closing properties potentially or disposing of them. So that's a really sad thing to see. And it's worrisome too from a leadership perspective in the community. When you look at a whole, wholesome community, you have a workforce that's up and coming, and energy and excitement that's up and coming. Um, as an older person in the community, I appreciate the opportunity to live here, but I recognize too that we need youngsters as well to help drive our future economy. And so that's something we remain focused on, and will continue uh, to make a priority. So our city council is we have a council manager form of government. As the city manager, I serve the city council as one of two of their employees. The city attorney is their other employee. And then I am the sort of bridge between the city council and the city's workforce. We have 716 employees at the city of Ventura, and those are full-time employees, in addition to dozens of volunteers and hundreds of seasonal and part-time employees. Think Parks and Recreation, lifeguards, police cadets, and others. So we do have a large group of folks that I'm responsible for, and I, of course, a number of managers that carry out the city's business on a day-to-day basis. We have 11 departments across city and Ventura, what's known as a full service city, meaning we have police and fire service that is city owned and operated, as opposed to contractual services that a lot of other cities have. Think of Thousand Oaks. They have the sheriff's office as their police department and the county fire as their fire department. So a little lot less complex there, but certainly their own challenges. And then we also have a water utility that's delivery of fresh water and the taking away and processing of wastewater. And then we have Public Works that does the city's infrastructure, maintenance, repair work, facilities and roads and sidewalks and so forth. Parks and Recreation, which manages more than 800 acres of parkland, as well as more than 30,000 city trees across the city. So a really large number. And speaking of statistics backing up, the city has more than 700 lane miles of roads. So we'll talk a little more about roads later. That's certainly probably one of the most visible challenges in the community. I know in talking with our community members from throughout the city, problem number one is the quality of our road surfaces, and we know it without question. Our city council is the policy-making body. They approve the city's budget. They set the direction for staff's work plan, and I'll talk about that in just a moment as well. And our city council, of course, we have 7 members. The city has 7 different districts, and of course, College Area is District 3 in town, represented by Councilmember Ryyn Schumacher, who is on the meeting here tonight, and 6 other council members. The council members serve 4-year terms. Their elections coincide with the gubernatorial election, which we're seeing this year. We have 4 seats up for election, and then the presidential cycle, which is in, of course, 2 years from now, at which time we have 3 seats up for election. The city's mayor is selected by the other members of the council. It's a process that currently occurs internally, where the council members elect basically their mayor, who will serve a 2-year term, as well as a deputy mayor who serves a 2-year term as well. And the deputy mayor really fills in for the mayor in the event of the mayor's unavailability. The mayor is ceremonial largely. That person acts as kind of the face of the city council and the community, often appearing at events and communicating on behalf of the city, and then presiding over the meetings of the city council, which generally are 2 to 3 Tuesdays a month throughout the year. Most recently, we were meeting, our city council was meeting at the Wright Event Center in District 3, of course, on the east end of Ventura College, near the CAPS building where we normally meet. And we just finished our last meeting there. We loved it. It was wonderful. Thank you to Ventura College for that opportunity. But we're really excited to be back at City Hall starting April 14th. So the City Council recently shifted to a strategic priorities approach to their visioning for the future of the community. Historically, or at least for the last couple of decades, the council had established annual goals at a goal setting session. The goals were sometimes unachievable in a year. Other times they were more kind of a broad philosophical approach to the community, something like preserving our coastline or preserving Ventura's character, or something that's sort of kind of hard to achieve and hard to really accomplish, but maybe something we want to do all the time in everything that we do. So we had conversations about meaningful approach that staff could take and then turn into action. And the council established 5 strategic priorities for a 4-year period. And they established that on February 1st of 2025. And I'm sorry, 2024, 2025. We actually set them at the end of 2024. But in 2025, we set climate change and environmental stewardship, economic vitality and development, homelessness, infrastructure, which would be the maintenance and improvements of city streets, facilities, infrastructure, think our promenade and other such things, storm drain system and so forth. And then public safety, of course, is a top priority. And so these strategic priorities are generally set for 4-year period. There are adjustments that are made every other year. And then each year, an annual work plan is set by city staff. And we just finished setting that work plan for fiscal year 2027. City's years, of course, we all have calendar years, but the city really kind of does its business based on a fiscal year, which for us is July 1st through June 30th of the following year. That's how we do our budgeting, and that's how we do a lot of our administrative work, including our work plan for the council's strategic priorities. The city's work plan, the city employees' work plan, is voluminous. I didn't want to get into all those details. There's a lot of minutia. You can, if you're interested, go and take a look at those. We have all of them listed online. You can scan the QR code on the screen, which will take you right there, or you can just go to the city's website and type in council strategic priorities. In the interest of sharing information with everybody, we have a dashboard that is available to the public and updated regularly. It has our progress on all of the strategic priority work plan items that the staff is working on. So you can see what we're doing, you can see where we're at in the process, and it gives you a good kind of glimpse of what city staff is working on. Okay, let's see. My slides are going backwards. Okay. So top city services, I'm sorry, this darn screen is in my way. Top city services that we hear from the community on are of course, providing safe roads and streets. We of course have um, many miles of roadway that require complete reconstruction. We do have some resurfacing projects that are going on this year along Thompson and San Hone, and then Kimball from Telegraph to Telephone, and then Telegraph from Kimball East to Pettit, and then a stretch of Main Street between Five Points and Borchard Road. Those are going to be resurfaced. That is because the road is in good enough condition that resurfacing makes sense. We have many roads that are so badly damaged, the resurfacing is a kind of a waste of money. And so we really need to reconstruct those. Reconstruction is incredibly expensive. I think you all are familiar with the work that was recently done on Telegraph from Ashwood to Hill Road. That's about a mile, and Telegraph is a large road, so there's probably 6 or 7 lanes in that mile, so 7 lane miles of road. Let's say it was $11 million to complete that project. So if you think about all that extra work that's required in the community, we really have a struggle in terms of getting those smooth road surfaces to drive on, and the surfaces that are safe and that we'd be proud of. We really have a hard time delivering those in the community. We had many years of deferred maintenance and um, uh, uh, decisions that were sort of kicked down the road because of financial concerns. Okay. Another top issue with our community, of course, public safety, quick response times, and so forth. But we really learn a lot about maintaining our parks and public spaces. We have 800 acres. Our Parks and Recreation team is 94 employees. We have the Aquatic Center, the West Park Skate Park, and all of those lands here and in between. In addition to, and you've all seen the activity guides, I imagine, the dozens and dozens of community activities that the city provides to the elderly, to children, and to everyone in between. So we're really proud of those services, and we really want to keep delivering those and make Ventura a really fun place for people to live and enjoy. Okay. Ventura has a steady revenue stream. We're a healthy community financially. Um, as I was speaking about our quality of our roads and other, aging infrastructure issues, we certainly have needs that are out there. But we deliver a balanced budget every year. We'll deliver a balanced budget this year. Um, but we have, based on our revenues and our projections, we don't see any real opportunities to get us to a place where we need to be. And you look at on this screen, and this is a very busy screen. I apologize for that. I wanted to get the information out here for your digestion. The city has an unusually large budget this year. $637 million is unusually large, and it is directly related to our major capital project at our water department. So we have our Ventura Water Pure program, which includes an update or a replacement of our wastewater treatment facility. That infrastructure is out at the area of Spinnaker and Harbor, and that's very costly. We have much of those dollars offset by low interest federal loans, and then also federal grants. So we've been able to secure tens of millions of dollars, about $110 million in grants, and then about $350 million in low interest loans. So that inflates kind of artificially the city's budget. Our budget's normally around $360 million, kind of equally divided between operations and capital expenses. And I'll talk about revenues for a little. Well, let me back up here. On the revenue side, and that's on the left part of the screen, a significant chunk of the city's operating dollars come from taxes. We also see charges for service is almost $100 million. Services would be the water utility is a large piece of that. And then other things that the city does, such as golf. We have fees that come in for golf. Those are services. So that's what comprises that significant chunk of revenue. But the main revenue that the city receives comes from sales tax and property tax. So our sales tax dollars, now if every dollar the city gets 1.5 cents directly, 6 cents go to the state, and then a half cent is partitioned out for public safety, and then is divided up based on a formula and spread around the county of Ventura. So a half penny is a little piece of that comes back to the city of Ventura. A lot goes to the county and then other law enforcement agencies around the city. So basically a penny and a half is what the city gets. That equates to about 19% of every dollar that's taken in for sales tax. Property tax is a little bit different. The city receives about 17.6 cents on every dollar. And property tax is challenging. We have Prop 13 that keeps those taxes on the low side. And Ventura is an amazing place. We have a lot of multi-generational families, but what that equates to is a lack of turnover of properties. And so the property taxes stay low, and we don't see the growing property tax revenues that many other communities see and benefit from and are able to turn into action in the community, such as park improvements and road repairs and maintenance and so forth. So some of Ventura's challenges. You might ask about Measure O. Measure O was a really desperately needed augmentation to the city's revenue stream. That's that half cent that was added onto the 1 cent that normally comes to the city from sales tax. So Measure O was enacted in 2016. We've been bringing in roughly $18 million annually from that half cent sales tax. And those dollars are put to use throughout a spectrum of services in the city, from fire and police to parks to capital projects and to roads. Every year we spend Measure O dollars on road repairs and resurfacing. So these are some numbers here on Measure O expenditures and projections, as well as future dollars. The Measure O fund maintains a balance, and the casual observer would look at that and say, "Well, you have money in the bank. We need to spend that now because we need it." Well, a lot of those dollars are committed for capital projects that are underway. Many of our projects are multi-year endeavors, and so we budget out dollars over several years sometimes, and those dollars are spoken for, so to speak. And so this chart gives you kind of a representation of dollars that are spoken for in the next coming couple of fiscal years. So this is a kind of a glimpse of what our current revenues and expenditures look like. They're flat, basically. And so we've seen some changes to sales tax revenue in the city. One change is largely related to our e-commerce. And so we're seeing a changing environment for retail, where brick and mortar businesses are just struggling and they're giving way to e-commerce. We all probably, I'm guilty as the next person of the convenience and benefits of e-commerce. You can see something on television, order it from your phone, and it's there sometimes that same day or the next morning. And so it's a wonderful thing. The struggle for us, is that those tax dollars are going to the place that is where the actual transaction is occurring, not where the item is being purchased. So if you order something from Amazon, there's a fulfillment center in Oxnard that item and the sales tax collected from it, except for the Measure O half-cent, goes to the city of Oxnard. So they're collecting our tax revenues for items that we are all purchasing on Amazon. And so on and so forth. Our e-commerce has siphoned off local sales tax dollars. So city still gets them from local dollars from restaurants and certain service providers and that are here in the city, which is great. But we have seen a really kind of a gradual decline in our projected revenues from sales tax in the city. City has robust budget management. We have been a recipient of distinguished awards from reputable organizations for decades. So we have, we're fiscally sound, and we do the best that we can with what we have currently. And we have some really excellent people that head our finance department. And so some other things the city has done as well we've dedicated more dollars. Our city council has been steadfast in their desire to see more work done on our city streets. They drive the same streets, walk on the same sidewalks as we all do, and they see the challenges, and they hear from the public kind of endlessly about, why aren't you doing more? Well, they don't understand why more work isn't being done, and it is frustrating. I hear from my own parents who thought when I took this job I'd be able to do more for them quicker, and so I'm extremely motivated for them, if not for everybody else. We've strengthened our emergency planning and wildfire preparedness. This is a major effort to hopefully, one, make property insurance available to our residents and to reduce those rates. We've seen huge increases in property insurance rates. We've seen cancellations and failures to renew policies. I'm one of those. I had my homeowner's insurance just reach out and say, hey, we're not renewing your policy. Have a nice day. And then when I was able to find somebody who'd insure me, it was 3 times the cost for premiums that I'd been paying before. And I've never made a claim in 30 years of home ownership in Midtown. So that's a real challenge for our hillside homes. We're really, looking at ways of making the community more affordable for young people to be able to afford to stay and live here, and to, also to have those jobs that would keep them here. But things like that are really a struggle. And as I mentioned earlier, we really go after wholeheartedly and strongly state and federal grants. We've had very, very good luck in obtaining those, and those dollars, which largely are taxpayer dollars, are returned to the city here so we can use them for local things rather than those dollars going to other communities and being spent there. So we're selfish in that regard. Over the past 10 years as well, the city has dedicated a lot more funding to fixing streets and potholes. In fact, in the last, we did a budget presentation last night for the city council and the public, and we have a very telling graph that shows the dollars spent on actual projects delivered in the community rising systematically over the last 4 years. And so that equates to better roadways, but we're still very, very far behind. We manage the budget really carefully. Again, we deliver a balanced budget. We don't overspend, and we, look for ways to stretch your valuable dollars just as far as we can. So what's ahead for Ventura? So this one of the city council's charges in their goals a couple of years ago was to look for alternative forms of revenue so that the city could deliver more to its community and to maintain its service level. And so we've looked at we reset our city fees every year. They typically increase coinciding with the consumer price index. That's roughly 2.5 to 3.5% a year. Small incremental fees. We've looked at some other alternatives. The council has wrestled with, what would a bond measure or a tax measure look like in the community? And of course, they struggle with the notion of an affordable community. Ventura County is already one of the least affordable places there is. But how do we attract people to this community? How do we deliver our residents a better quality of life if we're not able to maintain and update the infrastructure that we have, let alone adding to it? So I mentioned 700 lane miles of roads and potholes, many of which need actual renovation and repair. And our quick responses to 911 emergencies, both police and fire, which, by the way, our response times are outstanding to emergency calls. So we do deliver excellent services in that regard. The fire department is operating with 13 additional firefighters that are grant funded and operate in those small trucks that I think you might have seen over the last couple of years. They're called rescue squads. They're paramedic trucks that save on response time because they're faster and more nimble than the big trucks, and they require just 2 firefighter paramedics to operate. Those run on medical calls primarily, which is probably 85 to 90% of our fire department's calls for services. The city's infrastructure, the city has 300 miles of pipeline under the streets. Much of that is storm drain systems. The storm drain systems are largely metal pipes, many established in the 50s and 60s, many requiring repair work. We see sinkholes form in different areas of town. Those are often from failed storm drain systems. We had one on Calorama Street, if you know that street, very steep. Happened right before the storm season this year. We were able to get in and replace it. It was 18 feet below the ground on that hillside going up to the Grant Park on Calorama Street. So very, very difficult, costly repair work to just maintain what we have currently. And I talked about our youth and seniors program. The city is moving forward with the exploration of a sales tax increase that would be put to voters in the November gubernatorial election. That no decisions have been made on that yet. We did do some surveying of the community on a 1 cent increase to our sales tax that would generate an estimated $35 to $36 million that would be used exclusively for local projects, repairs on city infrastructure, maintenance of our police and fire services, and programs for our youth and elderly and others who enjoy our parks and recreation activities, and then any general purpose that the city spends dollars on, really with the exception of water. And water is what's called an enterprise fund, meaning that it operates independently from the city's operating general fund budget, and is self-sustaining through the fees that the water department charges for those services. There will be a survey mailed and then also available online to everybody who is an interested party. I think that's all of us. Please do pop in and take that. When you see it, it will again be mailed to your house. We'll make you aware of when it actually drops. We just want to hear from you and what your ideas are. Do you think it's a crazy idea? What other ideas do you have for the city delivering better services and taking care of those roads and streets and public safety needs and parks needs that you have in your mind? So we would love to hear from you. And again, that should be out in a couple of weeks, and I'll make sure that the council's leadership's made aware of that. So I'm happy to take any questions. I know it's kind of a lot of stuff. The city is a big operation, and there's many things out there that I haven't spoken about, but I'd love to hear from you if you have some questions for me.
Thank you so much. Looks like Dina has a question, got a hand up.
Hi,
I
Dina.
do. I just was curious, under the revenue side on the chart, the busy chart that you were talking about,
Yeah.
there was a big chunk that said something about mitigation fees. And I
Okay.
was just wondering what exactly are those? That
Yeah.
uh,
Mitigation fees are collected on developments, and that is used for it's called traffic mitigation. Um, we collect fees for developments throughout the city for a variety of things. Usually, when we develop properties and so forth, there's impacts to traffic. Mitigation fees are collected and intended and really restricted to be used for improving circulation related to
okay.
development. And so a
Okay.
lot of times those fees accumulate. We spent a lot of we spent a lot of fees collected in the well, gosh, 90s and 2000s on the Olivas Park Drive project, the extension. We had gone through all of the identified mitigation projects, and that was the only one remaining. And so we had about $22 million in mitigation fees that were really just sitting there, collecting dust, if you will. We don't let money collect us, by the way. We have an investment fund where we're trying to get dollars everywhere we can. We get about $7 million a year in our investment fund, very conservative investment fund. But yeah, that's what those are, $6.6 million in mitigation fees.
Okay, and then I have one more question, and it has to do with the consideration of the increase in sales tax.
Mhm.
I'm curious if you had put any consideration to making any increases confined to like one project, something that I know is for the general fund, but I'm wondering if it would make the floating of the tax more attractive if it were more limited in its scope.
Yeah, that great question. Thanks for asking. Um, so just to be frank, it's very difficult to have a specific tax. The bar for voter approval is much higher, 66%. So it requires a two-thirds vote. A general tax is 50% plus one. So it's easier to pass. But from the public's point of view, and I agree with you, if it were up to me, streets and sidewalks tax. I mean, that's where our greatest needs are. We have years and years. Even if this were passed, we have years and years and years before we're going to be in a position where we're actually doing what we should have done all along, and is maintain what we have. Maintenance costs are much cheaper in the long term than repair work. I mean, significantly cheaper. But we deferred those decisions because we didn't have the money at the time. And I'm not faulting anyone in leadership then. They just didn't have the dollars. And the city has lost employees over time and really not recovered them. We've shrunk programs, and the services we offer are pretty austere. Our city attorney, interestingly, is from Pasadena. Pasadena is just a little bit larger than Ventura, about 145,000 residents, and they have 2,700 employees. To give you kind of an idea of the scope of the services they're able to provide with those, think trash service and cleaning streets, pulling weeds, maintaining parks. I mean, all those different things that could be done that we struggle with. As I drive around town, I see weeds coming out of sidewalks, and we do a good job of going after graffiti and picking up trash. We have dedicated employees that do that. But I mean, I think you would agree, we could do a lot better. We should do a lot better. I would love to see better work done in the community.
Okay, well, thank you, Bill.
Sure.
And I think Stephanie's got
Stephanie?
her hand up. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, on this slide, I'm curious, Bill, what makes up that $112.8 million in other miscellaneous revenue? It seems like a large chunk.
Yeah, it's either federal grant funds for the water program, or it's the WIFIA loan. I'm not sure. I believe it's
The what? The last thing? The WIFIA?
Sorry,
water.
I'm using an acronym.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, WIFIA is a water infrastructure funding program
Okay,
for
thank
the
you.
EPA. The city's a recipient of a large WIFIA loan, very low interest loan that has long-term repayment options. So it's a good thing for the community. It's cheaper than any other kind of money borrowing. There was it's either and I think it's both of those. Some of that, some of the grant dollars that have been received for the large project, and then the prior year resources are dollars carried over that have been appropriated for the water project. Largely, there may be some other capital projects intermixed in there as well. And just for anyone's interest, our budget documents are posted online. There's a lot to them, and you're welcome to peruse them at your leisure if you're interested in seeing a really detailed breakdown of the dollars and cents that the city uses and receives. Yes, Kathy. Hi.
Hi. My question is, would a property tax be better than a sales tax, since the sales tax increases the costs for everybody regardless of income?
Yeah, great question, and that's something that has been considered and looked at. Ventura benefits from a substantial amount of tourism, and kind of the prevailing thought would be that this would be a way to spread the costs associated with that tax with those visiting and the community and using its resources. The property tax, there's pros and cons to both. Property tax can really impact those on fixed incomes. Many of our property owners in Ventura are those folks that are, of retirement age on a fixed income, that have legacy homes. So it's kind of a, uh, double-edged sword. It's either way. And this is the struggle. And I hate to even be kind of, telling you this, but this is the struggle with needing to generate revenue for, the community. And we are the community, your city staff. We live here, most of us do, and so we, like you, would like things to be as affordable as possible. So the idea of decreasing affordability through adding costs is really unappealing. But we want to deliver a better level of service and then maintain what we have for you.
Would it be appropriate to, or even reasonable at this time, to increase the total occupancy tax? Excuse me.
Yeah, TOT tax for motels and such.
Yeah, if you're trying to extract funds from visitors rather than hitting the local community.
Yeah, TOT tax is interesting. It's kind of established regionally. I think, I'm not entirely certain of the mechanism for raising it in Ventura, but I know ours is tied in, at least in terms of percentages, to neighboring communities. So that's an interesting one. It would be I mean, it would be a revenue generator and certainly a possibility. We've talked about it internally with our city staff. The city council has not talked about it. And again, I wanted to emphasize that the formative processes for doing this potential ballot measure are in the process. No decisions have been made yet in terms of whether it will actually appear on the ballot, whether it would actually be a cent, maybe it would be half a cent. I don't know what the city council will decide ultimately.
Okay.
I have a question. Actually, there was a discussion in the Ventura group on Reddit, and people were talking about housing and affordability, and there was an interesting idea about a vacancy tax on
Yeah.
empty properties. Does something like that exist anywhere? Would that be something Ventura could implement?
Um, I've heard that suggested before. I believe Berkeley has a vacancy tax. My understanding is that it's extremely difficult to collect upon, um, and really hasn't generated revenue for the communities. There's several communities that have one. I think San Francisco might. But that interests me. We have a lot of vacant businesses, and I spoke about a little bit before about the kind of legacy homes in Ventura, and we have a lot of short-term vacation rentals. We have a lot of second homes for people. Um, I know several on my street alone. I've lived there 30 years, and there's properties I've never seen anybody at ever ever. And I mean, raise kids and everything. So, and I know of other homes. Gosh, my parents had one that they just left vacant for about 15 years. And so we really have a problem with property turnover here. I mean, um, I appreciate Prop 13, some of the other, benefits, but at the same time, from a management of the community perspective, we look at raising revenues or increasing revenues to keep pace with costs. And how do you do that? We're having a struggle with the retail world where, e-commerce is king and is likely to be, king for a long time. And the economists say, hey, your businesses should all focus on experiences, experiential things such as salons, the body, massage parlors, entertainment, that sort of thing. Food. People go out and pay for food and the experiences that come with dining out and so forth. But the buying of goods, particularly things that aren't needed but desired, is a lot of it's being done through e-commerce. I think your Targets and Walmarts and Costco's, which unfortunately are not in the city here, but they're really raking it in currently. And then some of our neighboring communities, our auto centers certainly do really well still. But our neighboring communities with like the Outlet Mall and so forth, they manage to do pretty well also. But Ventura is struggling in that way.
Like Bert has a question.
Hi, Bill. Good presentation.
Hey,
In
Bert.
regards to the Amazon issue, them getting all the tax revenue in the city of Oxnard, I was doing some research on that, and everybody in the county, their tax money all goes to Oxnard, and that was changed in 2016 with a law when they changed the LLC operation at Amazon. Has any of the city groups that are not receiving that tax thought about getting the state legislatures to go back and see if they can get that change back to where it actually goes to the city of purchase rather than a warehouse?
Yeah, great question, Bert. As a matter of fact, the League of California Cities recently had a city managers working group that was comprised of cities with fulfillment centers, and then cities like Ventura that are losing out to fulfillment centers. And that group, after about 3 years of begrudging work, settled on a pretty reasonable sharing of those sales tax dollars. The fulfillment city would keep half would go back to the city of the point of sale. So we would not get everything back. So they recommended this. This subcommittee recommended it to the League of California Cities board for an action position, and the board ultimately rejected it and said, "Yeah, it's just too controversial. We're not going to get involved, and we think that that actually is a state constitutional matter that is really requires a change at that level." And so the League of Cities stepped back. There's strong feelings on both sides of it. You take Oxnard, for example. I would imagine that with this number of years, with that extra revenue, they've built a structure that operates and requires those dollars to run. And should they suddenly shrink and go back to where they originally would have gone to, that would be a really big problem for those communities. So you can imagine that there's some very impassioned pleas on that side, versus us who are just trying to make ends meet, in this difficult environment. There is a piece of legislature that is, I believe it's a 2-year bill, and it's on the second year, that the league would have been weighing in on, that maybe will come up with some kind of equalization, but that hasn't happened yet. I keep my fingers crossed, and we are much more active as a city with our advocacy in both Sacramento and Washington. So we're going to keep trying to get those dollars to come back here.
Thank you.
Mhm.
We went a little long on this one, but that's all right because
Yeah,
everyone got to
sorry.
ask their questions.
Yeah, thanks. We'd love to see you at City Hall. Please do take this survey when it comes out. Your frank feedback, even if you think it's a preposterous idea, is great. We just like to know what your thoughts are, and I appreciate the TOT, the vacancy tax, the other different suggestions as well. We'll do whatever we can to find funding to help deliver top-notch services to the community.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yes,
Thanks,
thank you.
Bill.
Mhm.
All right. Well, next up, we have one of our last questioners is now a presenter from our very own Ventura Chamber of Commerce, Stephanie Caldwell. Welcome to the College Area Community Council show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I think it's been quite a while since I have joined this group. So I appreciate being asked to come and speak. And I was asked just to kind of give a little brief overview about the chamber and some of the things that we're working on right now. So for those of you who aren't familiar, the Ventura Chamber of Commerce is a membership organization, and we serve the needs of our business community. We have about 700 members throughout the community, representing about 25,000 employees. We get no public funding. All of our funding comes directly from our members, either through membership dues or sponsorships or program related fees. And we have a 25-member board of directors. That board is represented from our membership. So all of our board members are members of the chamber. Many of them, or most of them, are small business owners or somehow engaged with local businesses. There are kind of 5 key things that the chamber really works on, really to drive a strong local economy, to provide business visibility and networking, to represent business interests to government, to promote our local community, and the last one is to initiate political action. So they're, kind of those are the 5 pillars, if you will, We do that in a number of different ways. The number one reason why people join the chamber or businesses join the chamber is to grow their business. And so we focus a lot on those types of services for our members, whether it's connecting them with potential customers through networking and visibility opportunities, or whether it is providing them assistance in advocacy. Oftentimes a business will start up and they'll have a challenge. Let's say it's a restaurant. Oftentimes they will run into challenges with the health department or not understanding all of the pieces that they need to accomplish before they can open their business. So we help them navigate some of those challenges and some of those avenues so that they can open hopefully as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible. We know that the biggest risk for new businesses is the first year that they're in business. Many businesses fail that first year. So oftentimes it's lack of capital. There's a number of different reasons for that. But what we see is usually it's, somebody has a great idea for their small business. They don't necessarily understand everything else that goes into opening that business. And they find out sometimes a little too late. So we try and engage with them early in that process and connect them with other resources like the City of Ventura. They have a great economic development department. We work very closely with that team to connect our potential, the businesses as they're opening with the economic development team. They have an economic development team at the county as well. So depending on what those needs are. So we spend a lot of our time with that. We work very closely with the City of Ventura. I think we have a really great relationship with our city. We work very closely with almost every department within the city to make sure that our members are receiving the information and resources that they need to be successful. So we spend a lot of time in that area. I did want to share a little bit about, we recently, about 2 months ago, had our annual meeting. And it's always fascinating to me as we look back over the prior year to see kind of what happened within the chamber, because it really represents what happens in the community. And so I'm going to share a few of our 2025 by the numbers, as we call it, some of our recurring events and programs. We have a monthly, what we call our Connection Breakfast, which is our largest monthly event, our largest monthly networking event. And we typically have about 130 to 150 attendees each month, unique businesses that come in for the purpose of networking with one another and promoting their businesses. We do that every month. So we did 12 this last year for a total of about 1,600 businesses that participated in that. We also support our local community and our local members through something that we call the lunch mob. So the last Friday of every month, I don't know if you remember, but a few years ago, there was a big push for these flash mobs that would show up and do these dance routines and public spaces. Well, we kind of took that idea and said, let's do the lunch mob, where we bring out a group of individuals and business owners to support a local restaurant once a month. Gives everyone an opportunity to hopefully try a new restaurant, support that restaurant, but also to network with each other. And so we do that. We did 11 of those this last year at new restaurants and some old, favorites that we have here in Ventura. And that was a lot of fun, but it's also, I think, really good to show that support for our local business community. We did 53 ribbon cuttings in 2025. Which obviously is more than one a week. So we had a lot of new businesses and also a lot of businesses that were either expanding or rebranding. So there's a lot of good celebration going on. So even as we hear that things are maybe slowing down, as we hear about turnover and changeover, we're also hearing about a lot of new startup businesses. We do a lot of different networking events. We had 7 different mixers that were unique to our chamber. We also had 2 joint mixers with other chambers. So one with the Santa Paula Chamber and one with the West Ventura County Business Alliance, which is the chamber that represents Camarillo and Oxnard. So just to get our members networking even with other chambers and other areas. We also focus a lot on giving back in the community and focused on promotion of our community. And one of the things that we do that we focus a lot on is workforce development. And one of the kind of simple ways that we do that is supporting our local Ventura Unified School District. We have a couple of different programs that we work on with the school district. One is a program called Teacher of the Month, where we go into the schools once a month and recognize a teacher who is especially deserving of some praise. These teachers are nominated by the principals in the school. There's a selection committee that's made up of Chamber, of Ventura Unified School District, and we go through all of the nominations once a year and select 10 unique teachers to recognize. And then the business community comes in and supports them with, basically showers them with gifts and appreciation. Because it's really important, especially in the climate that we're in now, that our teachers and our educators and our school district feel supported. Bill Ayub mentioned a few minutes ago that the schools are struggling with declining enrollment. I'm actually currently serving on the school closure committee. We've had our first meeting, and that's not something that makes anyone happy. Obviously, nobody wants to see their neighborhood school close or any schools close, but we're kind of at that stage with the lack of enrollment. So really making sure that we're supporting our teachers even in these tough times to show that, the work that they're doing is so critical. They are truly providing the future workforce of Ventura and beyond. So we do the Teacher of the Month presentations, but we also support the schools in another way where once a year we have what we call a Principal for a Day program, where business community can volunteer and go in and shadow a principal. It's about a half a day that they spend actually shadowing the principal at the school, getting a better understanding of the opportunities and the challenges and different issues that our principals and our educators are facing. And the purpose of this, obviously it's interesting to, shadow anyone in a different career, but really the purpose of this is to develop those relationships so that the business community can then continue to support the schools. And out of that Principal for a Day program, we've had a number of really incredible things that have happened. A few years back, there was a school, it was a high school. The Principal for a Day was shadowing, and the principal mentioned that they had lost some of their funding and were not able to have a prom that year. And this individual who was the Principal for a Day happened to work for one of the local hotels and said, we can't have that happen, went back and came up with a plan to basically donate the services for the cost of the prom. And they held that prom at the hotel so that the students didn't have to do without. So those are the types of, conversations that can lead to a variety of outcomes. And our goal is to really grow that and use that opportunity that one day that business person is in the school to really grow a broader relationship that lasts long beyond just that half a day in the classroom or in the school. We are starting a new program. Actually, we have just really kind of had the first launch program meeting of it with the Kiwanis and the school district, where we will now be recognizing, in addition to a Teacher of the Month, we will also be recognizing a support staff at the schools, and these will be nominated from the community. So it's one of those that if you see something really incredible, we now have the ability to nominate those people, whether it's a parent or a student that's nominating someone, whether it's a crossing guard or a bus driver or a paraeducator, or even someone who works in nutrition or a school psychologist. So, these are kind of some of the unsung heroes. And for some of our kiddos, that may be the one person who's their connection to give them, kind of that boost that they need during the day. So we're continuing to grow those programs to do whatever we can to support our Ventura Unified School District. We also, a little bit back to our networking, we have 4 different Biz Connect groups, which are leads and referral groups for our members to participate in. They meet every other week, so twice a month. They come together, they meet at a local restaurant, either for breakfast or lunch, and then they get to know each other on a much more personal level, and then they help to refer business back and forth to one another. So those are a little bit more focused. We have about, I don't know, probably about 60 or 70 members of those different groups. We also work with Toastmasters to provide a Toastmaster group for our chamber members, which helps to provide better public speaking skills. It helps to provide leadership skills, and just really, again, another great networking opportunity. So professional development. We have major events that we do each year. We do an annual meeting where we talk about kind of the state of the chamber. We install our board of directors, and we hear from our outgoing and incoming chair. We have 2 business expos each year, a spring business expo and a fall business expo, and those are open to the public. They are at the 4 Point Sheraton, and we have about 75 different exhibitors, members who exhibit their wares and talk about the services that they provide. These are not just a business to business, B2B, it's also business to consumer. So many of the services and products that are being provided, I'll use Dina Rogers as an example. Dina is not only on our board, but she has exhibited at the expo for a number of years. And so for someone who might be either new to the area or like, hey, I, haven't really thought about my insurance in a long time, can talk to Dina and see kind of what does it take to switch insurance and what should I be looking for? And so it just provides, again, visibility and opportunity for our members to connect with a broader group. We usually have about 300 to 500 attendees at the expo, and again, about 75 different businesses that exhibit. We also do a State of the City where after the mayor delivers the State of the City address at City Hall, we do a breakfast event for the community to participate in. It's typically at the top of the Crown Plaza. Folks can join us for breakfast and hear the State of the City event or State of the City from the mayor again. We do usually have a Q&A portion of that event. And so that happens each year. The last couple of years, we've also done something that I think is really important, and that is what we call a leadership reception, where we invite in all of the city leadership. It started a few years ago, actually about 3 years ago, when Bill Ayub started, and we said, hey, we want to do a welcome reception for the new city manager. And then what we realized were, there were so many different department heads that Bill was in the process of hiring as soon as he started, that we said, let's hold off for a couple months and then we will do this once all of those positions are filled so that the community can really meet these folks and get to know them before there's a challenge or an issue. And we're thrilled that we just have continued to do that every year. It's just a great program for the business community to connect to the city staff and city leadership. And I think both the city staff and the business community really appreciate that opportunity. We also have an economic outlook breakfast, which actually, ironically, is tomorrow morning at 7:30. We'll be back at the Crown Plaza up at the top of the harbor, enjoying the beautiful views here in Ventura. But we'll bring in Dr. Matthew Feenup, who is the chief economist out at California Lutheran University in CERF, which is the Center for Economic Research and Forecasting. And he will give his update on kind of where we've been in this last year and kind of what he sees in the coming 12 months. And then we're going to have an interesting conversation that follows his report, which will feature Matthew Feenup as well as our supervisor, Matt Levere, and then one of our local farmers, Will Terry, who's a fifth generation farmer here in Ventura. And so it's kind of, we're looking at this chat as like, we have the data piece, we have the policy piece with Matt Levere, and then we have the lived experience of the business that's trying to work through all of this. So I think it should be an interesting discussion, and that will be tomorrow morning at 7:30. Then once a year, we do our awards where we not only recognize excellence in business through our Poinsettia Awards, but we also recognize excellence in education. We partner once again with the Ventura Unified School District, recognize 2 students of the year, a primary student and then a secondary student, and also an educator of the year. We also recognize excellence in public service. And we have a number of awards that are given through the city. So police officer of the year, fighter of the year, and then some of the public service awards as well. So we're very excited to be able to highlight those folks that are doing great work out in our community. We also, our chamber is involved in something called the Tri-County Chamber Alliance, where we pool our resources and work on state legislation as well. So we all come together instead of just our chamber. You know, we have 3 employees, so there's a limit to how much we can actually accomplish and how much effort we can put into all of these things. So we try and focus on our core area, which is really Ventura and the region. And then we partner with these other chambers to focus on statewide legislation that impacts our business community and our quality of life here in Ventura. And so actually this Friday, we'll be having our Tri-County Chamber Alliance annual meeting and legislative review. And so this year it's up in Santa Maria. Last year we were able to host that here in Ventura, and we had about 150 different chambers and representatives from those chambers that converged here in Ventura for that annual meeting. So this year we're up in Santa Maria. Last year, I'm really excited. One of the things that the chamber has been saying for the last 6 years since the COVID crisis and the Main Street closure is, we really need to focus on activation of our downtown Main Street. We did not take a position on whether we should keep it closed or open it up. We really feel like we're having the wrong conversation. The conversation shouldn't be about open or closed. While it's closed, we should be doing everything we can to activate that space. And so we've had a lot of conversations about that. We had some ideas that had been floated. We had gone to the organizations that are most suited to activate those spaces. And when we didn't see a lot of that happening, we felt that, even though this wasn't really our core business, we couldn't sit by any longer and watch the businesses suffer. And so we put forth the effort and put on what we called a summer series. And we did 6 weeks of activation or 5 weeks of activation. We did 4 weeks of a summer stomp where we brought the Kentucky Stompers, which is a local dance troupe that teaches like country line dancing. We brought that to the main stage down at California and Maine on Wednesday evenings, because when we pulled the businesses downtown and said, what's your slowest night of the week? They said Wednesday night. And we said, well, that's the night we want to bring people downtown. And then we raised money through our membership. And we went out and purchased gift cards at local businesses in that Main Street closure area. And we had a contest so that people who would come to this free event, if they were to bring a receipt from that day that they had spent something downtown that day, whether it's at a restaurant or retail or wherever, and they showed us the receipt, we would give them a ticket and they would go into a drawing for those gift cards. And we gave away over $1,500 in gift cards to our local businesses downtown. So the idea was we get them down there, we want them to spend money that night, but we want to give them a reason to come back. And it was a huge success. We are looking at doing something again this year. I don't know if it will look exactly the same, but we feel very strongly that we're kind of missing the boat on kickstarting downtown, and it really just we need to focus on activation. So we have a subcommittee of our board of directors that is working on that, and we talk about that and try and come up with different ideas. We talk with a lot of businesses on a very regular basis as to what they need and where their pain points are and what their challenges are, and we try and find solutions to those specific areas. We also have a very robust young professionals group because, again, you know, the traditional Chamber of Commerce, I think when people think about a Chamber of Commerce, they kind of have this idea in their head, you know, these dark paneled walls, a lot of bankers, a lot of, you know, old guys sitting around, you know, maybe smoking cigars. I think maybe that hopefully has been dispelled. I think the Chamber of Commerce looks like me. It looks like all of you. It's our chamber is a part of this community, and our members are a part of this community. You know, they're your neighbors, they're your real estate agent, they're your, you know, State Farm agent, they're your pastor at your local church. I mean, all of these folks are members of the chamber. So we believe that, you know, helping that next generation kind of come up into the business community, making sure that they have the doors open to them, that the network is available to them, that the professional development is there for them, and that mentorship. So we have a very active young professionals group, and they also have a give back component. So they really focus on three things: the professional development, the networking, professional networking, building that network, and then also giving back. So they do a lot with our local nonprofit community. And at the chamber, we have about 100 nonprofits who are members of the chamber. And I believe that they are some of our most loyal members because that connection between our nonprofits and our business community is so critical. And so our young professionals group chooses different areas to focus on in that giving back as well. We also host 2 blood drives every year. Vitalant is our local blood bank, and I will give a shameless plug for Vitalant. It is very easy to give blood and relatively painless. And you get snacks at the end, and they're super nice over there. So if you've never considered giving blood, please consider it. There is a significant blood shortage here in Ventura County. And if you shoot me your email in the link, I can connect you with Vitalant and make sure that you get an appointment at your convenience. They're really great over there. We also do a lot of education for our members. In fact, this morning we had an event that was training our members on AI and how to better utilize AI in your business for efficiency, but also talking about the risks inherent in AI and how you can protect yourself and your business from that. What kind of those guardrails are that needs to go around AI, artificial intelligence. And so we had about 40, 50 people that were at that event this morning. We do a number of those types of seminars throughout the year. Some of those we do on our own, and some we do through partnerships with the City of Ventura, SCORE, EDC, and others. At the beginning of each year, we always do a labor law update because the laws in California are constantly changing, and it is a huge challenge for many businesses to get, you know, their hands around that. And so we know that here in Ventura, most of our businesses are small businesses. Throughout the country, the bulk of business in the country, it's really the backbone of the national economy is small business. About 70% of businesses are small businesses. Here in Ventura, that is much larger. It's a much larger percentage. Our largest employers here in the city of Ventura are the city, the county, and the school district. So given that, we really do rely on those small businesses to drive our economy. We also participate in a number of community-based events, the St. Patrick's Day Parade, We participate in the point in time count for the homeless count each year. I was on the General Plan Advisory Committee. We have a number of different boards that we sit on here at the Chamber: Economic Development Collaborative, the Ventura County Economic VECITA, Ventura County Economic Development Association. I'm also this year on the California Chamber of Commerce Board. I also serve on the Visit Ventura Board. And the reason for all of those things is truly collaboration, because we believe, especially when it comes to economic development, that working together, we are going to accomplish a lot more. No one can do it on their own. And helping to support one another is what is really going to help us provide more sales tax revenue so that the city has more funds to fund firefighters and rebuild those firehouses that are in desperate need, pave those roads, and do all of those things that our residents that are so important to our residents. So it's kind of that symbiotic relationship of the revenues that are generated through the business community support our city and our residents to provide the services that we all need. So with that, I will kind of stop talking. I feel like I've talked a lot. So I'd love to answer any questions anyone might have, or have a conversation about anything else.
As a board member, I just want to say, if you don't know Stephanie and you haven't had an opportunity to work with her, I would encourage you to reach out to her, because she mentioned all of these things that are accomplished. She has herself and 2 other team members to get this all done. So I just want to, I love working with the board and with Stephanie, and just know that this group is truly dedicated to the well-being of Ventura. It's involved in everything we do, and even a small, mighty team has a big impact on that.
Yeah, thank you, Dina. We all live here and we love Ventura, and we do what we do because we love Ventura, and we're out talking to residents and businesses every single day and trying to take that information and connect it to the people that need to hear it so that we can continue to make our community even better. Shannon?
I don't have any questions for you. Just a giant thank you from Ventura Unified.
Oh, we love Ventura Unified. So, I mean, my youngest went through VUSD, and I know so many of our members, their kiddos go to the schools, and it's super important. So,
when they say it takes a village to raise a child, I mean, we feel the same with our partnership from the chamber. So just thank you guys so much for all of you do. I mean, our staff really appreciates the recognition. I know Principal for a Day is always just such a huge hit for everyone, and we just are incredibly grateful for sharing our schools with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other questions for Stephanie?
I'll jump in with one. How many businesses in the college area are members of the chamber?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't have a breakdown by area. I could probably figure that out and let you guys know. I can report back to Dina and she can bring that back to you guys.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. But I know that, one of the things that we always look at, and usually I do this, and I didn't have a chance today, but I usually kind of go through and talk about some of the new businesses in the area that the community council is in. And I know one of the not so new, but new businesses is Pizza Station. You guys, I know it's been how many years that we've been waiting for that to reopen, right? It was Santino's and they closed and it said coming soon. I think it was coming soon for like 3 years. So we were excited to see them open this last month. So that's a good one.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
right, well, thank you. So my
Thank you.
on a personal note, my dad was a, Chamber of Commerce vice president for 30 years ish, something like 23 years, I think.
Nice.
After being a small business owner for a while.
So many people, that's their foray into the chamber world, right? They are a small business owner and then they serve on the board and then something happens and they wind up as the executive director or the CEO of the chamber. So, that's a common thing. I have been in the chamber world for about 22 years now. I was 11 years at the San Jose Silicon Valley Chamber of Commerce and moved here about 11 years ago to take this job and love it. I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you. All right. Well, if there's no other questions for Stephanie, we have a few updates from our board, from the CACC, aside from the big announcement from Barbara at the beginning of the meeting, which if you missed, I'll recap. Barbara stepped down as chair. She's still around. She's still a friend and a community member, but had family obligations that are taking her attention now. So that's our biggest announcement. Other big announcement. Everyone get out your calendars. We are changing our meeting time. We did a poll a couple months ago, and the consensus, the vast majority said 6 o'clock was better than 7 o'clock. So starting in May, in 2 months, we'll be moving our start time to 6 o'clock. So those of us, we were talking about the schools. I have 3 little ones at Mound. I'll be able to get in for bedtime when we start at 6 o'clock, where it's a lot tougher when we start at 7. So that's a big one. And next month, same time as now, our regular 7 o'clock time. But be ready for later in the summer. We're kicking that back a little bit.
And I'll post that on social media. So if you follow social media, we'll make sure that we make enough announcements, and Russell will get us on next door with that information as well.
It'll be on the website, our emails. We'll remind you. Yeah, thank you. And speaking of Russell, I know you have a couple of good news items to share from our area.
I do. I wanted to let everybody know that last Saturday we had our 3rd community gleaning. And for any of you who are not familiar with it, the gleaning is the day in which we ask neighbors to pick fruit from their own trees in their yards in general, probably fruit that would go unused otherwise, and to bring it to a central location, and we gather it all together and then we get it to people who need it. And I'm happy to announce that we collected 160 pounds of fruit, which we then shared with the Ventura College Food Pantry. So it went to a good purpose. And I wanted to particularly thank all of you who brought fruit, everybody who brought fruit, and also I wanted to thank the committee members who showed up to support the event, and in particular Food Forward. If you're not familiar with Food Forward, they are a nonprofit that does this kind of work all year. They have volunteers who go out and collect fruit from community trees, and they get it to nonprofits around the area. So I wanted to point out that if you didn't get a chance to participate, or if you still have fruit in your yards, you could contact Food Forward, and they would work with you to get that off the trees and to people in need. So I'm going to put their number and their website into the chat, and you could take a look at it there. And we are continuing to support the Ventura College Food Pantry, because that need for food by a lot of students, hundreds and hundreds of students, is still there. So we are sponsoring a food drive at our next meeting, which is the face-to-face meeting that we would have in April. We'll be at CAPS Media, and we hope you will show up for the face-to-face meeting, and you'll bring some canned goods with you. If for some reason you can't make it to the meeting, you can bring canned goods by CAPS Media on Day Road anytime between 4 and 7 before the meeting as well. And I think that's about it. Any questions on any of that? We'll be sending you, as somebody said, we'll be sending you emails in between. So we'll send you an email to remind you about the basic needs food drive as well. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything else from any of our board members? Dina, Kathy? Looks like going
Nope,
once, going
we're
twice.
running late, so we
Yeah.
probably need to move on.
Yeah. All right. Well, next we have, speaking of the schools, Shannon Fredericks is here, our district trustee for the Ventura Unified. I'll hand it on over.
Thank you so much. I know, I feel like Ventura Unified was quite the topic of conversation this evening between Bill Ayub and Stephanie, and here I am. So I apologize. I've still got my work shirt on. I work in Wainimi District. Didn't realize that was going to be there, but here you go. So I want to start with school closures. School closures is probably going to be our number one topic well into the fall. The School Closures Advisory Committee did have their first meeting this month, and the first meeting was an organizational meeting. They went over Brown Act responsibilities. They did appoint the chair and vice chair. The chair is Peggy Mariansky. She is a retired VUSD teacher, and she will be leading the committee. And then we have a Foothill Technology High School student, Sydney Traub, who is our vice chair. And so they will be leading the committee of, I think we have 23 folks on our committee, and they will be meeting monthly. Each meeting will be agendized. Public comment is welcome. Public is welcome to attend. Again, if you follow my Facebook posts, I will always make sure to include details about the upcoming school closure committee meetings. Of course, I'll make the announcements here as well. And you can always visit the school or the district website, and it will have the information for the school closure advisory committee meeting listed there. We will also be doing recaps that we'll be posting for the public as well. So for folks who can't make it to a live meeting, they'll be able to follow the recaps. Second item of business, you might have heard we are working diligently on our first 3 RFPs for requests for proposals for 3 of our surplus properties. The former Washington School property on McMillan, which is in Midtown, the former Avenue School, which is on Ventura Avenue. And then we also have a property on the East End called Jewett Estate. And it is an ag property currently being used for ag. And those 3 have come to us now in 2 closed sessions. And we of course, for transparency, want to make sure that we are getting community input. And we have held in October, we held a town hall. We've had many items on our open session, and it just so happens that the place that we are right now in the process is preparing for negotiations. And so by Brown Act, this is an item that can be held in closed session so that the district is not showing their hand before we go into negotiations with a potential buyer or someone who might be. I know there's been a little concern in the community that the current surplus properties topics have not been in open session. And every piece that we can include in open session, we absolutely will. And we're hoping to be at a place, we're going to be having a special meeting hot off the presses April 7th at 6 p.m. Again, It will be in closed session, the surplus properties, and then we will also be continuing our discussion on LCAP, which we started last night, our local control. I'm sorry, I'm totally drawing a blank on what LCAP stands for, but it's basically our funding formula for how we're funded and the services that we provide for our unduplicated students, which tend to be our low socioeconomic, our foster youth, our language learners. So continued conversations there. Our next regular board meeting is scheduled for April 21st. Closed session usually at about 4:30 and general session starts around 6. And then the other hot topic for us right now is negotiations. We are currently negotiating with our partners through VUEA and VESPA. Those are our certificated and classified partners, and we're working on our upcoming contracts. I am going to include a link. Let me see if I can get that copied. A link. The district has a page where we give kind of, as we're having our negotiations, we give very factual based updates, and it's a great resource for the community to understand where we are in our negotiations. Currently, the district is offering a 2% raise. As many of you know, the COLA this year is anticipated to be around 2.4. So we're offering that 2% on schedule. And then one of the caveats would be an individual healthcare cap. And most districts throughout the county have an individual cap. And the cap, of course, is negotiable. And we have 11 different health plans, 7 of which would be fully funded under the cap. And then the remaining 4, if a family chooses to choose one of the CACC plans, then there will be an employee contribution, which we're hoping works out that that 2% raise would cover that cost for them. In addition, we also have several HSAs, and for anyone who's choosing a policy that is below the individual cap, we would also contribute up to a 4,400 contribution to their HSA. So that's kind of where we're standing right now in negotiations. And again, the link is in the chat if anyone would like to look directly at the link to see where we are. And then just a couple of good news to wind up with. Spring break is starting on March 30th, and it will be through Monday, April 6th. So you might see our campuses are a little quiet over that week. And then my favorite local event coming up is Buena High School's spring musical. I've got 2 kiddos involved. My oldest is Sven the reindeer, and my youngest is young Anna. So that will be the weekends of Thursday, April 16th, Friday the 17th, Saturday the 18th. This year, they are also trying something new on Sunday, the 19th. They're going to be hosting a sing-along performance, which is I'm hoping is going to be super fun. And then the following weekend, again, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if you're looking for something fun to do, some place to take the kids, this one is going to be really, really fun for the littles. So hope to see you all there. I'll be doing concessions every Friday, Saturday. So come by, say hi.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Shannon? All right, well, thank you so much. I know my wife has questions for you. She was asking me school things. I was like, oh, I know our school person. So I might send you a note.
Absolutely. Yeah, send me an email, and I'll include my email and my phone number in the chat, and absolutely have her reach out to me. No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, next up we have our city council member for District 3, Council Member Schumacher.
Hello. Hi, everybody. I love hearing my colleagues' updates. Sometimes I even get updated as well as the what they're doing on their end. So I am going to share my screen if that's okay.
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay. Um, just really quick, I want to kind of highlight what we're doing in downtown. This was a conversation that we had yesterday, actually. We had a council meeting, and we were provided by our staff and our consultant on our vision plan for what's happening in Main Street Moves. So as you all know, just a quick update. Main Street Moves is permanently closed. Not only did the council approve to keep it closed, but also the courts also upheld our decision to keep it closed. So that lawsuit, even though there is another lawsuit that's going on, but the decision has been made that we're keeping it closed. So you can see this. I will put the link in there so you can all kind of review. It's a pretty long document. Again, it was in our agenda yesterday. So really quickly, I just wanted to provide you with some highlights because I only have about 8 minutes here. I'll try to keep it really short. So if I don't get to your questions or even the highlights, you can all go through this wonderful vision plan. This vision plan wasn't created just by our team and the city staff and the consultant. It was absolutely included by the feedback that we held several meetings throughout the community so that way we can understand what the businesses wanted, how the community would like to see things. And so pretty much, as you all know, oh my goodness, where am I? The Main Street Moves covers the 200 to, I believe, the 600 block on Main Street in downtown. Here is where Mission Park is, and then it goes all the way to Foster Library. So I'm going to quickly just highlight a few things that I think would be really great to see. Just so you know, as you all know, the Foster Library is being renovated, and we would like to put some more family-friendly activities there, right across from Fluid State. You can see that there's going to be some seating. And again, this is just a vision of what it can look like. Obviously, we're going to have some cost, restrictions and also other materials that we want to consider. But essentially, we want to really keep this area very family friendly. As we go down to the middle part of it, as you all know, this is what it looks like. We're envisioning a stage here. A few of my colleagues wanted to move the stage closer to Mission Park because this view of City Hall is something that everybody really loves, and I kind of agree with them. So just kind of toying around with the idea, but the main thing about this is I think Stephanie was talking about how we did a lot of activations in this area where throughout the summer just to revitalize a lot of the activity happening in downtown. So you can see that again, we're really trying to make it really open and family friendly. The great thing about this too is that because it's closed, a lot of not the complaints, a lot of comments and feedback that I have received is for the people that have some mobility issues. And so in the parts of where the streets are, if I can just get to my things here along the streets will be provided with ADA parking and also ADA drop-off. So that will help with people with mobility issues, people who are disabled, that can be able to also enjoy downtown as well as additional handicap parking that we're also considering. And then in the theme really is for this to be more inspired by the mission, historical context from the Chumash community, and just really trying to make it open and allowing both the community to love it as well as our business owners, so that way people come to downtown a bit more frequently. And then just wanted to show this. As you know, this is where the mission is to the right would be where Paradise Pantry is and Mission Park, but we're envisioning a big sign there. That's not what it's going to look like, but essentially we're really trying to include the signage, a lot of lights, a lot of seating for our elderly, older community, having the ability for bollards and planters just to beautify it more and really trying to make it more of a destination. So I'm going to stop there. I know you all are very excited about that. The other thing that I wanted to share is every first Saturday of every month, I do a walk at Community Park. So I would love for you all to join me. This month we are going to be, oh no, what's happening? This month we are, I don't want the free trial. Sorry, guys. This one where I have Council Member Bill McReynolds joining me. It's a casual walk and talk. It's one lap around the park. It's at Kimball. We'll meet at the Ventura Aquatic Center. Really, it takes 1 hour to go around that because of the way that we walk, and we're also talking. Sometimes we take breaks, and it's also really hot. So I just want to enjoy just having that conversation. Often we come up with a lot of really great ideas when our bodies are moving as well. So join me and Councilmember McReynolds. It's not this Saturday, it's next Saturday. It's the first Saturday of every month. So we'll be there from 9 to 10 on April 4th. And then I will just remind everybody to join us in City Hall now. We are no longer in District 3. We have moved, as Bill Ayub has said, we moved our council meetings back to City Hall. So we'll be starting there on April 14th. So I hope you all make your way over. If there's any issues, obviously you can contact me so I can assist with any of your questions or concerns. But by all means, join us in our city council meeting so you can hear what we deliberate on for those nights. So I'll pass it back to Kathy. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm passing to Eric.
All right. That was thank you that was a compressed one. Do we have any questions? I love those designs, by the way. I think they're great.
Yeah, I hope we can do it. It's going to take some bucks.
Yeah.
Probably thinking of it more as a process than a overnight magic wand, here it is. But I think if we get in our minds it's a process, I think we'll be a lot less antsy about it.
Absolutely. And I think what we wanted, our attention was to actually show what it can possibly be. I think a lot of the community is just trying to figure out, like, well, is this what it's going to look like? We have these like giant warlike barricades. So no, we're going to remove those. We already approved the bollards and planters. So much of that is going to be replaced this summer. So you'll see a lot more beautification as time goes.
See, I think that's going to make a big difference to get rid of those big yellow claws. And...
Yeah. To ask Bill to, use that as a part of the pitch for the sales tax. I don't know. Just saying.
So do we have any other questions for this part of our meeting? Or do we have, and if not, then we also have a minute or a couple minutes for community announcements, if there's anything anyone wants to share.
I have an announcement, if I may.
Go, Carol.
Carol Lindbergh. I just wanted to let everybody know that we're going, the Sunrise Optimist Club is going to have a wonderful tour of 6 home gardens in Ventura, probably mid to east end. And it'll be on April 18th, Saturday from 11 to 3. And you can drive your own car and go to them in any, the first one you go to will give you the map of all 6 of them. But basically, it's $25, and that whatever money we raise will be used to benefit school children in Ventura Unified District. So it's our fundraiser, and it's just a wonderful way to raise some money for the kids. That's what the Optimist Club, its main purpose is to help help school children. And that's we have lots of different programs, Student of the Month and da-da-da-da-da, but this is new. We even had a bingo about a month ago, bingo fundraiser. But anyway, invite you all, and maybe Kathy will put it in the, you can buy the ticket online at our website, which is Ventura Sunrise Optimist.org. All together, Ventura Sunrise Optimist.org. And you can buy a ticket for $25 online then. So thank you for letting me say that.
Thank you. Any other community events or announcements to share?
Just a reminder, elections for College Area Community Council officers and board are next month.
And we would love to see
you at CAPS at 7 p.m.
Yes, we'd love to see all your bright, shiny faces.
Where can we see the candidates, the people that are running? I don't have a clue, and I'd like to know.
Well, I'm not sure we know until next month.
I thought maybe the people in the know.
We don't have anything together yet.
I'm gonna have a chance to vet them before you vote, if that's what you're saying.
So it's district, what, 4, 5, and 6? It's
no. This is for the CACC board members.
Yeah, just for our group here.
But just for District 3?
It's we kind of represent District 2 and 3, but just the college area.
Well,
not for city council. We're not talking about
yeah,
city
that's
council.
what now I'm confused. Okay,
yeah, no, I get it. No, not city council. We're just talking about the next month we'll be electing the board for CACC.
Oh. Okay.
And you'll just have to decide when you see who's running.
Yeah. I thought it was city council.
No, ma'am.
And that's
in the fall.
We're much less formal than the city council election.
I've been.
Well, now you got it. So we're.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yes. All right. Thank you. Any other questions or any comments for the good of the order? All right, well then thank you everyone so much. Thank you all of our speakers and participants. Always, you can check our website. I'll post links to the presentations that I have available, and hopefully we'll see you in person next time. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Good meeting.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks.
Thank you.